Ladies and gentlemen, would you please move your way to the seats, please. Please take your seats. Program is about to start. Ladies and gentlemen, would you please take your seats? Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of your host, the Solomon Schechner Day School, we ask you to please move to your seats. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, would you please take your seats?
Erev Tov. Good evening, everybody. Hi, my name is David Nanis. I'm the president of the Board of Trustees here at Solomon Schechter. And on behalf of our school's board, it gives me great joy to welcome you all to Schechter's 47th annual Community Celebration Ceremony. As we can see, the format of this year's event is a bit different than it's been in the past for our other celebrations, but to me it seems like it's a really strong reminder of just how much we have to celebrate and just how wonderful it is for all of us to get to be together celebrating here tonight. We're here together in person and at home, and with just a few weeks left in this school year, to celebrate our school and honor dear members of our community. It was a different type of year, but it was a great one nonetheless. We accomplished so much, and I really want to express my sincere gratitude to the many people in our community who drove our success. Our teachers, our administrators and staff, our families, our parent and community volunteers, our alumni, and all of our generous supporters throughout our community. And together you exemplify one of the core values that Schechter holds highest, that of Kehillah Kadosha, or holy community. And together you set a wonderful example for our children. Tonight we will formally begin our evening by welcoming our Schechter School Chorus, led by music teacher Carrie White, as they sing the Star-Spangled Banner and Hatikva. Please rise.
Balevav eni
Well, let's give them one more round of applause. Carrie and the school chorus, thank you. That was beautiful. Okay, now please join me in welcoming Liat, Nessa, and Zev Sepash, current Schechter students, as they lead us in the Motzi.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz.
Thank you, Liat, Zev, and Nessa. Okay. So tonight, we are privileged to celebrate our entire Schechter community, and in particular, our honorees, who have given so much of themselves on behalf of our school. We are thrilled to be honoring alumni parents Alyssa and Bruce Mayer with our 2021 Tree of Life Award. And to pay tribute to our 2020 honorees, the Florence and Herbert Ravitz Zichronam Livracha Foundation, and current Schechter parents Ariel and Yoni Sepash and Jamie and Stuart Finkelstein. And I know you will all join me when I say I am eagerly looking forward to our special presentation in gratitude to our amazing faculty and staff. This evening could not have come together without our amazing volunteers and professional staff. So please join me in a special thank you to our event co-chairs, Schechter parents Samantha Zulin, Dahlia Lerner, Janet Wanderman. And also special thanks to our Director of Institutional Advancement, Michelle Weinraub, Ellie Sheva-Meyerhoff, and the entire advancement team, Sergey and Mervin, and everyone else who worked so hard to make this evening possible. They carefully planned this evening and then transformed the field where our kids had recess just a few hours ago into this beautiful event space. We so appreciate the incredible creativity and effort that you all put into making this happen. Now, throughout this evening, we're going to have the opportunity to express our thanks to our exceptional faculty, led by our wonderful head of school, Steve Friedman. That's for you. Faced with so many challenges this year, each of you went above and beyond the call of duty, never wavering in your ability to see opportunity, hope, and resilience. We cannot thank you enough for continuing to inspire, nurture, and mentor our children each and every day. So I'd like to ask you all to join me now and stand together to recognize these outstanding teachers and role models. Thank you to all of you. And now I would like to invite our role model in chief, Mr. Friedman, up here to say a few words.
Erev Tov, U'Bruchim Habaim. I want to extend a personal Mazal Tov to our honorees who have given so much of themselves on behalf of our school. We are thrilled to be honoring alumni parents Alyssa and Bruce Mayer with our 2021 Tree of Life Award, while paying tribute to our 2020 honorees, the Florence and Herbert Ravitz Zichrono Livracha Foundation, and current Schechter parents Ariel and Yoni Sepash, and Jamie and Stuart Finkelstein. I also want to thank the co-chairs of tonight. You were instrumental in ensuring its success. Almost 2 years, and finally, I have made it to Schechter's annual event, and so did all of you, both here on campus and watching virtually. I began my tenure as head of school nearly 2 years ago, and I at last have the opportunity to stand before the greater Schechter Kehillah to say how honored and privileged I am to serve as your head of school. Who could have known in July of 2019 what awaited us? The year began innocently enough and with great optimism. I was getting to know the parents, the community leaders, establishing relationships with our students and staff. I was having fun, settling in, learning, and then dark clouds of tragedy and crisis began to build. Everything changed for us in January 2020. Our beloved Rabbi Fred Elias, Zichrono Livracha, who had been fighting cancer, took a turn for the worse, and he tragically passed away in February. Rabbi Elias was an incredibly positive force at Schechter and was certainly beloved by his students, staff, parents, and larger community. I can tell you that we miss him every day. Shiva hadn't even concluded for Rabbi Elias when another unimaginable tragedy occurred. Fifth grader Angela Edelman, Zichrona Livracha, died after a long battle with cancer. It was an incredibly challenging and sad time. As the Shiva ended for Angelina, we were looking towards celebrating Purim to lift our spirits and to begin to move forward as a school community. COVID-19 was in the news, but who could have imagined that just a few days after Purim, we would be sent home, never to return to the campus for the remainder of that school year. I spent the rest of my first year as head of school at my dining room table, having my first experiences as Schechter's head of school on Zoom. The last months of my first year were a mix of awe and gratitude at how well we transitioned to our virtual school, and it was a time of great concern and sadness over those who suffered with COVID-19 and for those who lost loved ones to the disease. Towards the conclusion of the Amidah, we recite Modim Anachnu Lach. We thank you, Lord our God. And we continue with V'al Nasecha Shebachol Imanu, for all your miracles that daily attend us. Even during those darkest times, the light of daily miracles shone through, made more pronounced when we were able to return to campus this past September. These miracles were enveloped with gratitude, and the gratitude took on a whole new meaning once we were back at school. I cannot even begin to describe the joy felt by the staff and by me, hearing the happy sounds of children's voices and witnessing the endearing and, of course, unpredictable personalities of young teens. Your children were the reason why we did everything we could to get school open and to keep it open. And each week, we were able to be in school, which ended up being the entire year, validated that everything we did was worth it. It was truly a bracha to stay open. We had a year that exceeded our wildest expectations, and that was only because of the unique nature of this special, warm, and caring Schechter Kehillah. For it really took a Kehillah to make this happen. I extend my most profound appreciation and gratitude to all of our donors. We thrive because of you. A heartfelt thank you to the Board of Trustees, and especially to Dave Nannis. It would have been enough to be president in onboarding a new head of school, let alone navigating a once-in-century pandemic. Good timing, Dave. I want to extend my personal and deep appreciation to the medical committee who guided me through this pandemic. Dr. Steve Weisholtz, Robert Goodman, and Paul Palavin, who's with us tonight. Please stand, Paul. And of course, to our parents led by Ahava, without your support, confidence, and trust in us, we wouldn't be here. At the end of the evening, we will pay special tribute to the true heroes, our Schechter staff. But now, to get a really good glimpse of what this year was like at Schechter, please sit back and enjoy the videos which tells our story. Thank you.
I was still very hesitant about school, even in September.
I actually did not think the school was going to make it the whole year without going virtual.
There was, real uncertainty about that, I think, in everybody's mind.
And I'm so happy that this school has been open consistently throughout the year because the children have needed that more than anything.
I feel like we are seeing the light at the end of the tunnel.
I'm actually amazed that we've got to this point.
Pretty strict with COVID.
Is this okay? Is that okay?
We are getting tested.
Tough position for the school.
Our entire lives changed.
Each person played a part.
Hours and hours.
Non-stop conversations.
How can we get this done?
Tried to do our best.
Definitely a team effort.
Diligently.
Went above and beyond.
Was it working?
Fatigue.
A challenge?
Quarantine.
It's not a good routine.
Hamster wheel feeling.
Technology is always changing.
15 chords. Hopeful.
Kids are adapting.
Could not have gone any better.
They are laughing.
Bonded really well.
Now I'm gonna cry.
Take a deep breath.
There was no other choice but to be open and in school. And so I didn't entertain any other possibility. And that was made possible, actually, because this is an extraordinary community.
Handing their children off to us, in and of itself, was an incredible message of trust.
I had full confidence that Schechter was going to do what was best for my kids.
Seeing the kids in school happy was a big incentive for everybody.
One of them came to me and said, I promise I'll wear 2 masks, I'll wear 10 masks, I'll do whatever you want me to do, I just want to go to school.
The weekly testing during the peak of it, I've appreciated that.
People were generally pretty compliant with the health checks and the mask wearing and the distancing.
I knew that they were consulting with medical experts.
And I know it was a big investment, both emotionally and socially and financially.
It's proved to us, my family specifically, that it's money well spent.
It really didn't matter what your role was. Everyone was all in.
Right, that's the call. All hands on deck.
And there's so much going on behind the scenes.
Our volunteer medical committee, who spent a ton of hours guiding me and helping me make decisions.
We sweated the small stuff because we had to make sure everything worked.
I come into the classroom and I gotta get on, I gotta hook my computer up, I gotta get the Zoom on.
I'm very proud as to how everyone has done with the technology.
We just did it, and I never could have done that on my own.
There's so much going on day by day.
Plexiglass is broken, I'll be there right away.
The tents are up, the tents are down, the tents have fallen. There are chairs in the yard. There are no chairs in the yard. Just the number of hours, and still anytime I see them on the carpool line, it's a warm smile, it's a good morning.
I feel like I'm with a family when I come here.
Same. I'm happy working here.
Everywhere you are on the entire campus feels like a community.
Our security guards are just a part of life in classrooms.
I know
literally all the stations.
The school had me reach out to a fellow Schechter parent to help us coordinate to get the teachers vaccinated.
And I saw that there was a need. I saw that it was really hard to book vaccines.
I felt it's the least that we could do.
I was sitting in a CVS and a woman asked me, how did you get this? And I said, this is not me, this is my school. My families and my community took my information and they did this work for me so that I can teach their kids.
Talk about it takes a village, but it's nothing, to me it's nothing short of miraculous. If I had to sum it up, I would say we did it.
I walked through the door and I'm like, see all the teachers, I'm like so happy to be back to school. So I'm like, wow, today's gonna be a good day. Even though sometimes I have bad days, it always turns out good.
I'm proud of the kids, and I'm proud of the kids for just showing up. There have been many, many times, now I'm gonna cry, there have been many times throughout the year where kids were just going through a hard time, and we just said, just show up, just come. Even if it's hard, just come, and we'll take care of the rest.
While the social-emotional side of learning has always been incredibly important to us, equally important as our academics, we had to go deeper.
We consulted several times with occupational therapists.
We talk a lot in class about our feelings.
Taking that space to find a place to make that mind-body connection to help yourself calm down, say, how am I gonna do this? How will I push through? I wasn't expecting this to be, but I can control my breath. I can take a deep breath and slow down.
And when we're doing meditation, I feel like just very calm.
When I come into the classroom, I feel welcome there and I feel like I'm supposed to be there.
We created a warm environment where children felt safe. And I think in a year like this, that was tantamount to everything.
We took time and opportunities in our advisory program to learn and reflect on how we're feeling, how, coping strategies.
They've really helped them talk through some of the emotions of dealing with being in a pandemic or just dealing with things that are not the norm.
This year has been really challenging because of COVID, but it also has been such a great one too, because I've made a lot of memories and I've made a lot more friends.
It would definitely be one of my most memorable years at Schechter, and not even just COVID, but how much closer I got with everybody here.
My kids had structure, my kids had connection, my kids had community.
I see strength in my children.
By virtue of keeping the school open, we've kept our kids healthier.
Schechter still feels like home.
Our children are still reading Torah. Our children are still leading tefillot. Davening outside in the basketball court is pretty nice.
It's still music education.
They're still smiling.
I was never as proud of the children as I was when we did science fair.
It's awesome to see all the projects going on at once.
I've had a great year. I did.
This is truly God's work to educate children regardless, to rise up to the challenges and the obstacles and make sure that a day isn't lost of studying Torah.
What's important and what we love about Schechter stayed the same, right? Love, joy, community, learning, and everything else is commentary.
I will forever be an advocate for Solomon Schechter Day School of Bergen County and for the way they navigated through one of the worst times in our history and kept going. Never gave up.
And that's why I'm at Schechter, and that's why I'm here for 26 years, because it's not only a school, I'm not only a teacher, I'm part of a community.
And we should feel proud of it, we should protect it, we should nurture it, we should support it, and we should, with great enthusiasm, advocate young Jewish families coming to our school.
Wow. If you're not emotional after seeing that was amazing. It feels, I guess this year, more than any other year, it feels very, very special to get a look behind the curtains. And something Ms. Cox said in the video really struck me. It's how I felt watching it. Schechter is home. And I just want to thank one more time everybody who makes it our home. The faculty, the teachers, the staff, Ahava, the board, the parents, our community at large. Thank you very much for everything that you do. So now it's time to begin our award presentations. We have waited a long time to begin these first three awards, to present these first three awards to our 2020 honorees. And to get us started, I would like to welcome Schechter 8th grader Matthew Finkelstein to present the 2020 High Award to his parents, Jamie and Stuart Finkelstein. Matthew, come on up.
Good evening, everybody. When I transferred to Schechter in 2nd grade, I immediately felt like I was home. My parents felt the same connection, which is why my mom started chairing the new family picnic the very next year. It is also why my dad ultimately got involved with the board, where he paid extra attention toward helping make Schechter a leader in STEM education. My parents felt so strongly about building Schechter's design program that they donated the school's first 3D printer. Shortly thereafter, the Popkins made a very generous donation, and the Popkin Design Lab was built. It is there where I found my passion for design and engineering, which I will be pursuing next year when I attend the LaFell School. I like to think that my parents' involvement in Schechter and my dad's desire to help Schechter's STEM program gave me the ability to be so lucky that I was able to identify this passion at such a young age. It is therefore that I, with great pride, present my parents, Jamie and Stuart Finkelstein, with the 2020 Chi Award.
Thanks, Matthew. So, looking at Matthew now, 7 years after being at Schechter, like we're, beyond proud of who he's become. But we have to thank, actually, this school, the faculty, the teachers, the staff, everyone here played a major part in helping shape him over these last 7 years. He talked about his passion for design. Now, for those of you that know Matthew, he's a very sarcastic child, something I hope a lot of his teachers are spared. I see Mr. Taylor smiling. He probably is not spared as much as some of the other faculty members. But if you listen to Matthew talk about the school, there's countless positives that you can get through some of that sarcasm. But when he talks about design and engineering, it just completely comes out in spades. And it's something that we feel very proud of. When Matthew decided to go to LaFell, my head immediately went back to a field trip that we took. Right after the Popkins, not long after the Popkins made their very generous donation to help build the lab, the Popkins, Adi, Andrew Katz, and I made a field trip to the LaFell School. And we did that because we had a vision. We looked at that school as having a gold standard design and engineering program. And we wanted to think, how do we go ahead and create the gold standard for our middle school and elementary school students so they're prepared whether they go to LaFell or any other school or pursue engineering on the side or whatever they do, because it's the skills that we want all our children to walk away with. And for my son to actually pursue that and take on to it, it's just brings tremendous joy to us. Now, as Jamie and I talked about this night, over the last few weeks, it feels very different for us than when we talked about this night 15, 16 months ago. And not really because of everything else that's happened, but in 8 days from now, we'll be right back here transitioning from current parents to alumni parents. And so it's really, bittersweet in that way. And so, in retrospect, we just want to say that we just are so thankful for everything the school and the staff and the administration has done to help our son, to have us be part of its community. And I really hope that every parent in the 8th grade class and every future graduating students' parents will feel as thankful as we are for what this school gave their family. Thank you.
Thank you, Matthew. Thank you, Jamie and Stuart. The success of our school is predicated on the support of our Kihila, our community, both near and extended. Please join me in welcoming alumni parent Golan Yehuda to present the 2020 Shirley and Harris Zichrono Livracha Shapiro Community Award to Wendy Ravitz on behalf of her parents Florence and Herb Ravitz of blessed memory.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight. My name is Golan Yehuda. I'm a proud parent of 2 Schechter graduates. I'm here tonight to present the Shirley and Harris Zichronam Livracha Shapiro Community Award. 21 years ago, I had the privilege of meeting Herb Ravitz and his family. After each business meeting, we always discussed the current situation in the state of Israel and what was going on there at the time. As a young boy growing up in the Bronx after World War II, Herb Ravitz vividly remembered the establishment of the State of Israel in 1948. Living through these events as they unfolded created his deep bond with Israel that he maintained throughout his life. Together with his wife Florence, who he was lovingly married to for 52 years, they went on to build a successful business and a beautiful family with 3 children and 6 amazing grandchildren. Herb's entrepreneurial success allowed him to later generously fund organizations that he felt helped create a stronger Israel. I had the pleasure of introducing Herb to Schechter about 5 years ago. Herb wanted a way to recreate and strengthen the connections that he had found as a young child with Israel, and I shared with him that Solomon Schechter, Bergen County, was the exact place to make that impact. Herb quickly established a fund in 2015 in a memory of his beloved wife, Florence, and helped create a scholarship fund for our 8th grade Israel encounter. He understood that sending our children to Israel in the 8th grade will help to put Israel at the very core of what our students cared about and ensure that their love for Israel will continue to flourish. He took great pride in the fact that through the Florence and Herbert Ravitz Israel Engagement Fund, he will be able to connect our children to Israel for the rest of their lives. Just 2 years later, the foundation made another transformational investment in Schechter by investing in our Hebrew language program with the expansion of our Italem program throughout our lower school. The foundation had continued to be a partner and a friend to Schechter, helping through a generous donation in response to the COVID-19 pandemic. Sadly, Herb passed away this year. We are immensely grateful to the faith that Herb Ravitz had in our school and the generosity that the Florence and Herbert Ravitz Zichronam Livracha Foundation had shown us. I hope his family is filled with great pride as their parents' legacy will continue for years to come. and they connect the next generation of Schechter students with Israel and strengthen their bonds to our homeland, people, land, and culture. Wendy, will you please come and accept this award on behalf of your parents?
Thank you, Golan. My father was always an ardent supporter of Israel. Although he never got there himself, he believed that supporting Israel was essential to the future of the Jewish people. He understood that maintaining strong political and cultural connections to Israel was vital to its survival. He believed that Jewish youth should have an understanding not only of their faith, but of their history, and that connecting the next generation of Jewish youth to Israel was exceedingly important. I've enjoyed visiting here tonight and meeting some of you and hearing about the impact that my father's contribution had on your community. I know that my parents would be thrilled to know that they've made such a significant impact and that their support will continue to impact the lives of your students for years to come. Thank you for recognizing him.
There you go.
Wendy, do you want this? Thank you, Wendy. Thank you, Golan. Now, please join me in welcoming Schechter parents Rachel and John Apter as they present the 2020 Tree of Life Award to Ariel and Yoni Sepash.
We are so happy to be able to introduce our dear friends Ariel and Yoni Sepash, who devote their lives to Schechter and the broader Jewish community as this or last year's Tree of Life Award recipients. Yoni joined the board of Schechter, his own alma mater, in 2012 before their eldest daughter Liat was deemed enrolled at the school. He has since served on the finance committee, the development committee, as treasurer, vice president, and will hopefully soon be the president starting in July, in each role contributing his own unique blend of vision and realism, strategy, and spreadsheets. During his free time, Yoni serves as the Chief Operating Officer of Camp Ramah in the Berkshires, so it is now literally true that Yoni spends every waking moment devoted to strengthening the Jewish community. The same can be said for Ariel. After serving as a class parent and Ahava volunteer, Ariel agreed to serve as Ahava president while working full-time as assistant managing director and counsel for Sinai Schools, a uniquely special Jewish educational institution. She was at the time also serving on the board of Kesher and eventually became its president. Ariel too leads with a unique blend of vision and realism, always keeping the vision in sight, but also becoming famous for efficient board meetings that literally ran like clockwork.
Ariel and Yoni are thus both full-time Jewish communal leaders, personally and professionally. In both roles, they see people and communities where they are, but then strive to elevate and inspire them. That is an important lesson from this week's Parsha, Shlach. When the spies come back to report on what they saw in Eretz Yisrael, 10 say that the land was inhabited by giants and that Bnei Yisrael would not be able to conquer it. The rabbis say that the spies were not lying. They were only reporting what they actually saw, and seeing Bnei Yisrael where they actually were, scared. Kalev and Yehoshua, on the other hand, saw Bnei Yisrael where they were, but then had the vision to see what they could be, elevating and inspiring them by describing Eretz Yisrael as a land flowing with milk and honey, that Hashem would deliver to them. This is Ariel and Yoni's unique blend of realism and vision. With spreadsheets, efficient board meetings, and Zooms, lots of Zooms, but also with dreaming, singing, and creating, Ariel and Yoni see the communities they lead where they are, but they also inspire them and each one of us to become greater. They are dugmaot, or examples, of how to care about the details and do the hard work, while simultaneously being able to see the larger vision and create a reality that is different and better than today's. Ariel and Yoni, thank you. We love you, and we and Schechter and the entire Jewish community are grateful for your leadership.
First of all, I just want to say, as the first educated graduate class person that in this building, that I really, really appreciate that you guys are still going with the teal. The teal is really, really impressive. So thank you. And thank you, John and Rachel, for your support and help in all that we do. We are honored to be recognized alongside the other honorees tonight, to Elisa and Bruce Mayer, Jamie and Stuart Finkelstein, Wendy Ravitz, and obviously Florence and Herbert Ravitz, Zichronah Livracha, and our faculty and staff, thank you. To all the volunteers and supporters of Schechter, to everyone here virtually and in person this evening, the support that you have given the school over the last 50 years, almost. You can come back in 3 years, I think. And continuing in this difficult year enables Schechter to continue to excel, grow, teach, and build our children and our community. Thank you. In this week's Parsha, as you've heard a couple times, the Israelite spies were sent to Canaan. As parents at Schechter, we have different opportunities to spy on what's happening at school, as the teachers laugh. First, as prospective parents, we have the opportunity to tour the campus and take a quick peek into the classrooms. Ariel and I were overwhelmed by what we saw. One of us even cried. We'll leave it up to you to figure out which one. And we saw engaged, inquisitive, and happy students. Over the years, through volunteering to serve lunch, attending a Chumash ceremony, 1, 2, or 3, judging a science fair, a special friends visiting day, seeing pictures posted on social media, talking to our children, and seeing the work they bring home, we get a glimpse of the magic that happens at Schechter. But over the last year and a half, our opportunities to spy have been somewhat different. Last spring, at different points in time over the course of this school year, through virtual school and some amazing online programming, we've gotten a different glimpse at our children's education and the interactions between our children and the faculty. And while the faces and the pictures on social media are masked, we can still see those smiles behind those masks. What makes Schechter so special and keeps those smiles going behind the masks is our faculty and staff, the great educators and caretakers that walk the halls, and especially this year, these fields. Our school has a great and complete mission. We are a warm, inclusive Jewish school with a vigorous dual curriculum that inspires students to be engaged, independent learners who embrace Judaism with confidence and compassion to better the world. And that is what happens here at Schechter. Rather than just words on a page, our core values we can see in the front of the school tonight become real and lived. This is due to the Schechter faculty and staff, and is why we thank them this evening. When my father was our head of school, there were a number of values that he would speak about with incoming parents and prospective teachers. I know this not from my father. I know this because those parents and those teachers have pulled me aside to tell me their stories of how they found Schechter. First, Rabbi Sepash would explain at this school, your child will become a mensch. And boy, has the school, thanks to Steve Friedman, embraced that idea of being a mensch. And second, Rabbi Sepash would speak about how the faculty will act as a dugma, as an example to our students, and thereby the students will become dugmaot, examples of our core values. And those examples they would bring home to their families and their communities. Again, not words on a page, but through modeling and action, our teachers will educate and teach. And today, these values still hold true. This year more than ever, our faculty and staff are examples, dugmaot, of engaged, happy learners that pass and imbue the love of Judaism, the drive to change the world, and those happy smiles into their students, our children, and some of your grandchildren as well. Schechter's educators, our faculty and staff, here tonight, you adapt, you listen, you give out your cell phone numbers to parents, which is a terrible idea, and you engage our children. You look at each child, at our children, you see where the child is standing, and get the child where they need to be. The school will more formally thank you later tonight, and earlier tonight, and again and again. But Ariel and I wanted to take this moment to thank you for what you do for Liat, Nessa, and Zev every day, and offer you our gratitude and love for how you teach. Before Ariel and I leave the podium, would all of our teachers, staff, and administrators, who we can also call our friends, please stand up so we can thank you and give our gratitude for the effort and sacrifices you make us teach our children and the deliberate care you give for them. Thank you.
Thank you, Ariel and Yoni. Thank you, Rachel and John. And thank you to all of our 2020 honorees. I'm glad we had the chance to formally honor you in front of our community. Now, 2021. At Schechter, we often speak about how we stand on the shoulders of those that came before us. And when I think about whose shoulders we stand on, I think about Alyssa and Bruce Mayer. Alyssa and Bruce have been involved with Schechter, whether serving on the board, working with Ahava, serving on our many committees, really as overall advocates for us in the community, both visibly and behind the scenes, for nearly 25 years. Personally, I am grateful to both of them as they have very generously acted as sounding boards and as an advisor to me while I've been on the board and has been board president. It's been invaluable. Please join me now in welcoming their daughters, Allie and Jordana, both proud Schechter graduates, to present the 2021 Tree of Life Award to Alyssa and Bruce Mayer.
To this day, any person that knows me knows that I went to a private Jewish day school. I started to wonder, why is this a piece of information about myself that almost always comes up in conversations and becomes one of the first things someone learns about me? And then I realized it is because this school has become an essential aspect of my identity. Schechter will always be more than an elementary school. to me. It is where I grew up, and the community will always be my family. For as long as I can remember, at this school, I was known as Alyssa and Bruce's daughter. Now, don't get me wrong, this definitely came in handy, especially when I was in pre-K, and Bruno would find me because I was lost in the hallways, too busy chatting, but luckily he recognized me and was able to safely deliver me back to my classroom. But it also had some downsides, including spending many, many long hours after dismissal waiting for my mom to finish meetings. But don't worry, Sylvia always made sure to keep snacks for Jordana and I, specifically for those times. It seemed that from my very first days, for me and my family, this place would become home. Schechter helped instill my love of mathematics. It is where Jordana got her first teaching experience, and it helped shape the Jewish values that guide us to this day. It was always clear to me how special this school is, and I'm so honored that it means just as much to my parents as it always has to me. My mom spent countless hours volunteering on the board, even serving as president. Her work supporting day schools now extends beyond Schechter Bergen, as she currently serves as COO at Prisma, working with Jewish day schools across the country. My dad now lends his expertise to assist with the financial operations of the school and works hard to ensure that Schechter can be accessible for all families. Together, they have modeled to Jordana and I the importance of giving back to your community and the importance of a Jewish education. Well, today, and quite frankly every day, I'm incredibly honored to be Alyssa and Bruce's daughter, and I'm so proud to present them with the Tree of Life Award.
I think it's moments like that that makes the Schechter education speak for themselves. Thank you, Allie. Thank you, Jordana. Honestly, I thought we were the parents that were known as the ones that won the Hamilton tickets as the Schechter Gala. And needless to say, I have to thank a teacher for that also, because it was up to Roz Gottlieb who picked our name out of the hat. But seriously, Alyssa and I are truly, truly humbled to receive this honor. We accept it on behalf of all the SSDS alumni parents. As parents, I think we've been blessed to have this school be such a part of our families' lives. We've all experienced firsthand what a Schechter education has done for our children. As most of it, as you know, what has been and continues to be Alyssa's and my hope is to make the cost of an SSD education affordable for every family, and we will continue to work hard to strive that goal for it to be achieved. It is up to all of us as alumni parents to act as ambassadors for this school. So Alyssa's and my message tonight is that this alumni family is going nowhere. And we hope that all our committed families continue to ride with us. And more importantly, those families sitting on the sidelines join us to continue our ride for generations to come. We want to acknowledge those being honored tonight. You guys were very patient for this well-deserved honor. And finally, I know, Fred, you're smiling above. And continue to look after my family and all of Schechter. I think of you every day, and I miss you every day.
As you know, it takes a village to put together an event like this, and we are so appreciative of all the work of the Schechter team, the advancement team, the chairs, and of course, Mervyn and Sergey. And a special thank you to Michelle. We know how important it was to you to be able to bring the Schechter community together to celebrate in a meaningful and safe way, and it is clear the thought and caring you've put into this tribute. When I was president of Schechter, I had the honor of joining the faculty for their end of the year lunch and to thank them on behalf of the parents and board. At that time, I asked a question. I'm going to ask the same question to all of you. This is audience participation, so I need you all to play along. So my first question is, and we're going to hold you on the honor system. Raise your hand if you can name the last 3 Nobel Prize winners in literature. Raise your hand if you know them. Okay, look around. Not so many. Okay, what about raise your hand if you can name the last 3 Academy Award winners for screenwriting? Raise your hands. Again, not so many. Now, I think we can all agree that these are great accomplishments and that the people who won these awards were certainly quite deserving. And yet, not so many of us are remembering their names right at this moment. So now here's my final question. Raise your hand if you can name 3 teachers who have left a lasting mark on you, who challenged you, or who inspired you. Raise your hands. And look around the room. When Bruce and I were asked to be honorees, we hesitated because the work we do to support the school is not for recognition. However, we welcome the opportunity to pay tribute to the people who are truly deserving of being honored and thanked, and that's the teachers. When I look out to the teachers sitting here today, I am grateful to our daughters' teachers who I know have truly helped them to become who they are today. From the teacher who nurtured Allie's abilities to excel in math and helped her to grow in an area where girls are not always encouraged to shine. There is no doubt that this message Allie received as a young student has helped her to successfully navigate a profession where women are still the minority. And I look out and I see the teacher who mentored Jordana and who to this day continues to be her role model. I see from my work at Prisma, where we work with day schools across the country, the incredible work teachers do every day, and more so in this challenging year. A number of years ago, when I was also honored by Schechter, I spoke about one of my favorite books, a book that I still turn to for inspiration. It's called The Last Lecture by Randy Pausch. The Last Lecture is a tradition where a university professor is invited to give the last lecture of the school year, and it's meant to be inspiring and motivating. Randy's lecture took on an even higher significance as he was at the end stages of his battle with liver cancer, and he passed away shortly after giving this lecture. In Randy's last lecture, he shares life lessons that he's learned, seemingly for the audience of students who were there listening. However, Randy shares that the real audience for his remarks are his children. It's his way of imparting advice on how to live their lives, even when he won't be there to give it to them personally. I want to share with you the conclusion of my remarks from that Schechter dinner. Therein lies the real answer to why I have given of my time and efforts to support the school. Ultimately, my greatest accomplishment, in fact, the only accomplishment which really matters, is the example I've set for my children. Jordana and Allie have grown up seeing their parents give of their time and financially supporting their school, their shul, and their community. And now my greatest pride is watching how Jordana and Allie give of themselves. I'm watching my children incorporate the values which both Bruce and I have tried to model. I feel great pride tonight being able to look back at those words spoken over 10 years ago and see how true they continue to be. So the real reason Bruce and I are standing here tonight is not for our recognition, but to say thank you. To say thank you for giving our family the greatest gift, the gift of a Schechter education. Thank you so much.
Yeah, plenty of that. You all spoke beautifully. Thank you so much. Mazal tov.
Thank you so much.
Before I begin my brief remarks about our incredible staff, I want to acknowledge the retirement of Leah Sid. Leah has been a beloved teacher for over 32 years, making her tied as the longest-serving professional staff member at Schechter Bergen. I am not telling you who the other person is because she is here tonight, and I do not want to give her any ideas. During her time at Schechter, Leah has touched generations of children, instilling a love of the Hebrew language and of Israel. I know you join me in recognizing this special milestone and thanking her for her incredible dedication to our school and our children. She couldn't be here tonight. Hopefully she's watching. Fruit does not grow on the trunk. Fruit grows out on a limb. Our teachers went out on the limb for the sake of our children because that's where the fruit was this year. The fruit of being at school, not only supporting their learning in person, but attending to their social and their emotional health. For a good part of this past year, only about 13% of students in the United States were at school 5 days a week. Our children were among them. We also learn in Pirkei Avot, you need the roots to stand firm and strong to go out on a limb. And that is what our non-teaching staff represented. Our support staff and leadership team, they are the roots and the trunk that ensured that our teachers could go out on the limb and harvest that fruit. And here we are, under this grand tent, celebrating our Kehillah. Look around. We sit here in faith that the cables and the anchors will support this tent. And so it goes. Just as the tent cannot stand without the cables and the anchors, so Israel, our people, cannot stand without our teachers. There is no doubt that Schechter Bergen teachers are the cables and the anchors that sustain learning and promote intellectual, emotional, and spiritual growth in our children each and every day. They are all teachers of Torah, regardless of the subject they teach. As a community, we have tried to express gratitude several times this year to our teachers for their courage, love, and dedication as they came to school each and every day during this pandemic, truly serving on the front lines. It wasn't that they just showed up. Any parent who regularly reads Yesh and the teachers' newsletters can't help but be inspired by the depth of learning and the level of engagement that continued in spite of COVID-19. Our teachers participated in a miracle by creating a sense of normalcy in a time that has been anything but normal. And so, once again, as an appreciative community, we recognize and we honor our dedicated and talented teachers and all of our support staff and leadership team for continuing to teach Torah so lovingly under such challenging conditions. We truly love and admire you. Please share our collective nachat as I welcome back our 8th grade class in song and as you watch a video honoring our beloved teachers and staff. Enjoy.
I've always felt supported and loved here, but this went beyond. I don't even know how to express my thanks for all the support that I had.
You never feel alone, ever. You never feel, what can I do? Who can I talk to? What can I... There's never that feeling. There's always someone who's got your back.
I heard a lot, you know what you're doing. You're good at this. You are the expert. You don't have to doubt what you're doing. I think we took care of each other. I think everyone understood that this was hard and this was new. And we all needed help. And we all needed help in different ways.
Mr. Friedman and the whole administration, they always stepped in, whether it was a 5:30 in the morning phone call, 12:30 emails.
The amount of work that, Ronnie and the leadership team to Mervin and Sergey did to help prep the building, before the kids even walked in the door, the stuff behind the scenes, it was exceptional.
But if we didn't have all that backup, none of this would work.
Nurse Debbie is one of the great unsung heroes.
We have the benefit of having an amazing school psychologist and an amazing school social worker who made it a point of going into every single classroom every week, running groups with kids.
Jim, Jeff, Rob, and Steve. They're just so fun. I'm thankful for the people in aftercare.
Greg and Seth and Zach. The technology piece has been so important, and they have been so patient.
To say it was a team effort is an understatement, and everybody took on things that aren't normally in their purview.
It really has been just one big Kehila effort.
I feel great pride in our staff, as I do the entire community, but really our staff, because I felt like each and every day they gave it their best, and that takes a lot of inner strength and fortitude.
I'm thankful for my teachers. I love them this much. I know how hard it's been, and I know how hard you're working, so thank you.
Thank you. That would be the first thing I'd say because their effort is outstanding.
She makes me feel happy because she takes her time to do help every single person in my class. My favorite part about my teacher is she helps me learn, and I'm never afraid of saying something to her. She can make everything fun, and things like math. I hate math. She makes math fun.
The resource room teachers who go out of their way to help kids who need extra help. And for me, that's what I need.
And she been so nice, the librarian, that she allowed me to pick other book, and I need to return it. My teachers put a lot of thought into it, and they try their hardest to make sure that it's great.
Thank you for risking your health for coming here and teaching us stuff.
Teachers try to make it really fun for us.
God, she cares about us a lot.
Thank you for getting us through COVID, and thank you for teaching us during COVID. And
for just always being there for us.
Thank you, everybody. I love Sector so much.
You could tell that they love what they do. They genuinely love the children that they're working with, and that they love teaching. I mean, they've made it very clear that they can do it under any circumstance.
And to build community and to make kids feel seen and heard and loved in person with masks on behind plexiglass, Dayenu.
The level of energy that they were able to bring to my child and excitement about learning when they themselves were probably scared too. It was just Jewish role modeling at its best.
I get emotional thinking about the fact that we did it. Schechter did it.
They've done it, I felt with love and care. My kids have had a great year with their teachers. They've made it as normal as possible. Despite all the things that make it not normal, they've made it as normal as possible.
Then you look around and it just feels good, and it feels the way it's supposed to feel, and it feels like us. And that's truly remarkable.
Thank you! Thank you!
Wow, that was amazing. Thank you to our extraordinary 8th graders. Thank you. Thank you to our teachers and our staff. Thank you to everyone who came out tonight, and thank you to those watching at home. We could not have achieved all that was done during this unprecedented year without your support, resilience, strength, and fortitude each and every day. And I'd like to say that as this pandemic is finally beginning to wane, we are so excited to share with you our dreams and aspirations as we approach the 50th year of this beloved school and plan for an incredible second 50 years for Solomon Schechter Bergen. Please join me now, rise, and let us clap out our teachers and staff as they return to their cars and go home and rest for tomorrow.